I used to hate Windows Firewall. I mean, I loathe it because it takes resources out of your workstation.
You're saying used to.
Yes. Don't tell it to anyone, but this is a big secret of mine. I'm actually beginning to be quite happy for the Windows Firewall.
Okay.
Hello again, Johan.
Hi.
I've had some thoughts that I'd like to share with you. There have been recent situations with so-called ransomware attacks, very close to people we know. But you see, we have a ISP, Internet Service Provider, that we're using. Mm-hmm. What they do is they sell servers, virtual servers, and they sell various other products. Yeah. And if you buy virtual servers, you can. They've got two products. They got what they call cloud servers, and what it means is that you can buy sort of a private cloud where you could set up a sort of a cloud network with whatever number of servers you want that are on the same net in the cloud. Mm. The other product is more like standalone servers, and they're all set up as workgroup servers, so they're not in a domain. Okay. The way we use them is that we've got customers and they have an application, maybe. Typically, they've got one application, maybe two. They want to host it somewhere. Now, different situation. Some they have web applications, and the user access to the server will be through the web application only. Yeah. Then we have customers that are actually using Windows application via remote desktop, and we have a system that actually needs to have a shared drive on the server in the cloud, and also uses a remote desktop. So it's all kind of sort of setups you have here. Yeah. And normally, as I said, on one server. One of the advantages here is that this service provider is they're backing up every day. They make your image backup with the server and they keep it for a week. I couldn't help, try to call the cards, and so I called them and said, yes, you said that you are making backup every day. Did you ever try it if it works? And they were sort of a little bit flabbergasted about that question, because they, we guarantee that it works. Yeah, I see the guarantee, but does it work? You guarantee that? I have to ask someone else, Then I went through 4 persons. Okay. And in the end, we came up with an agreement that for a fixed amount of money, they would make a test. Okay. So that they would make an installation based on a stored image, so that I could test whether it was okay or not. Okay. Now, I've been working quite a number of years in this business here, and I've seen quite a number of backups that didn't work, when it came to the critical situation.
You're going with your old additive that trust is good, but control is better.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. And I'm going to suggest to the customers we have here that they actually invest in that, so that we, on a quarterly basis or something like that, make a rehearsal. Yeah. See, does it work? Prepare yourself that, because, and now I'm coming to the core of it. You have in big organization a traditional IT architecture that is based on domains. So you have a lot of computers, and they are all maintained via Active Directory and stuff like that. So you know where your users are, and what they have access to, and all the things, you control within your domain. And that's all very good. Until somebody gets into the domain who shouldn't have had access to it. Then you have a problem, because if you have access to one server, the likelihood that you have access to all the rest of the servers is very big. And that was what happened. So it's not just one server that breaks down, it's a number of servers that breaks down. Secondly, you can have all the backups in the world of various files, databases on the server. But imagine, I suppose there are still people out there, I guess, that are actually using physical servers. Now, if that breaks down and the whole system is fucked up, it's going to take very long time to restore it. Based on a file backup. On a virtual server, you just reload the last image you had that was working, and then you're running again. Then maybe you restore your database. So what I saw was that there was a system that was attacked, and the customer had no intention of paying ransom at all. But it took a week to restore the system, what should have taken a day, in my opinion here.
I have one question, because from what I hear, these ransomware attacks, they usually have some hidden code in your system, and even though you take back up, when you restore an old backup, that still has that code, and then it will just remove or delete the system anyway.
I admit that more knowledge about these things is certainly very good. As far as I could see in this particular instance here, and in a particular way of making a ransomware attack, what they do is that they use standard encryption components to encrypt the files. So they're just encrypted, and they have the code word, they have the password to decrypt it. And what they normally also do is that they go for the data drives, not for the system drives.
So because instance, they want you to be able to log in to see their message.
Exactly, yes. So you have these servers here, the C drives, they're okay because, well, normally you got your OS line there, but not your systems.
And in your data drives, you usually do not have any executables.
No.
So
no, you don't.
No. Then you have the issue as well. If you're not using the system that often, maybe you go in once a week or something, and you have a weak log of backups, then you might have a week of encrypted backups.
Nah, because well, if you don't use it for a week, true enough. Yes, that could be the case. Yes, I realize that. But then again, you should think about that when you plan your backup schedule here. But you see, the problem is, the way I see it, is that you can guard yourself against all the known attacks, against all the known way that people can get into your system. But you can't guard yourself about the ways that you don't know about yet. So what can you do? You can build your infrastructure in a way that is resilient to that kind of attacks, and that will enable you to get on your feet again quickly. And I think that's the best, one of the best solutions you can aim for at the moment here. I'm not sure about this, but I ask myself if this big unified domain strategy that has been prevailing for, well, the last 25 years or so, if it isn't obsolete because of the circumstances. I think
You
actually.
mean we're going towards more isolated servers running their own thing and communicating via web services or something?
Yes, that's what I think of, yeah.
And then you can easily monitor each web service or system, like making sure that it's still operational. And if some of them go down, you will get an early warning.
A traditional setup is that you have an application and you install it and people access the application via the network.
Mm-hmm.
The situation before that was that you actually installed the application on all the workstations. And then they might share the database. But I mean...
yeah, on a common server that was also on the network.
Yes, but precisely. But that kind of installment requires a rather large IT department.
Yeah.
So the situation where we more and more use web application in that context is very good, because you just install it on the web server and that's it, and everybody can access it. Everybody who's allowed to anyway. And it's easier to install an application like that as a isolated installation.
Yeah, then I have it in-house in a big computer hall.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what can you do about the database? The same thing, essentially.
Making sure that it's backed up.
Making sure that it's backed up, yes, and making sure that it's not installed in an environment that are too complex and with too many access points, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you should be able to control that with a firewall, actually. And there's another thing here, by the way, now that we talk about it. One of the problems with the standalone virtual servers is that they're all guarded by a common firewall.
Yeah.
That you don't access, that you don't have any rights to change the rules on.
Yeah.
So what you end up with is the firewall that the chosen operating system has. In many situations, that would be Windows, and all you have would be a Windows firewall.
Yeah.
And I used to hate Windows firewall. I mean, I loathe it because it takes resources out of your workstation, and there's a lot of things you can't do when you when you have a firewall installed.
You're saying used to?
Yes. Don't tell it to anyone, but this is a big secret of mine. I'm actually beginning to be quite happy for the Windows firewall.
Okay.
Because you can use it to you can do various things that I had a hunch you could do it, but I never looked into it until now. First of all, the firewall is a firewall. You can shut off various applications, various ports, and various IP numbers. There are some peculiarities with it that you should know about, but essentially, you can say, okay, we open a port for remote desktop, for instance, but only for whitelist IP numbers.
Couldn't we make a video where you go through and show me?
Sure.
Yeah,
certainly.
Let's make that later.
But you could also use Windows to set up we could also use Windows to set up a VPN access
Okay.
to the server.
Yeah.
And you don't need extra software for that. I used to do that because I had a firewall, and setting up VPNs between the firewall and firewall is firewall and a workstation is a good. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's known territory, so to speak. But you can do it with the Windows server alone.
Okay.
So again, what you can do is that you set up a VPN, and then when you configure the firewall, you say, okay, only people on the network has access to anything on this server here, for instance. So you can make those boxes quite hard, actually, with the things that you have at hand.
Yeah, that should block most of the possible attacks, at least.
Yes, also it's necessary because, for instance, if you have an open RDP port, your computer is likely to be attacked. And I've witnessed several times that the attacks can be so violent so that authorized users don't get enough resource to log in.
Oh, you're talking about DOS attacks?
No, actually, no. People trying to log in, brute force attack on a RDP port, can actually be so hard that the people who should be able to log in don't get the time slice to do it. So you try to log in, but it doesn't work because some bot out there are trying, 5,000 times a second, to log in, then you come with your...
Yeah, but that's some kind of DOS attack anyway.
Yes, but it's not meant as a DOS attack. It's
no, but it becomes one. Yeah,
it becomes one. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I did some years ago, when we had a proper firewall, I connected it to a Unix syslog service.
Yeah.
You could do that with the Signal firewalls, and then on the console, I just displayed whatever happens to on the firewall. And what you find, and that's 20 years ago also, that you will be attacked once every second.
Yeah. I also look in the weblog and log. I do have a script that registers if there is a domain call on my website that is not kind of kosher. It's not expected, and I do get a lot of strange attempts of hacking from time to time there as well. And it's not like someone is trying to attack me. It's just scripts that is trying to it's crawling the web, trying to hack every single server it can find with all the methods that are out there. So you can get, like, when one of those pass by, you notice that the service is slow for a while, and then you check the log, and then you can see that there has been like thousands upon thousands of different strange URLs with all kinds of strange hacking strategies trying to get in.
The way it works is that you can't hack any server you want to hack. If you ask me and give me a specific IP number and ask me if I can hack it, the answer would probably be no. But if you ask me, can you hack a server at your own choice, the answer will most definitely be yes, because there are a lot of them out there. And you just make a attack on an IP range,
and there are scripts that you can more or less just hire a hacker online with a click. You don't even have to know any programming and say, I want to try to hack that server, and they will throw every known trick in the book because they have it in a script. So they type an IP address, and then they try every known thing in the book to hack that server, and comes back with the result if they get in somewhere, somehow. So don't think that you're secure, and always have the notion that if you haven't been hacked already, just assume that you have been, and treat your data like it's been compromised already. So that's kind of the security level you have to have, and the thinking you have to have around your data nowadays.
Yeah. But you don't have to make a report to the authority of a GDPR breach until you can actually see if there is a breach.
No,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
So skip that step, but every other step, trying
Yeah.
to make sure your
Yeah.
data is
Yeah.
in order.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we can only say to people, take care of yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dangerous world.
Yeah. Yes.
And cyberspace is no less dangerous than real space.
No, it's probably worse nowadays. Yeah. With all the hacking going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite crazy. Well,
okay.
I'm looking forward to a tutorial of the firewall in an upcoming video. So
Yes. Okay. That'll be fun.
that'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
See ya.
Okay. Yeah. See ya.
Bye bye.